Hi, welcome in. I'm just giving this a moment to get started. Okay, I think we're good. All right, welcome in. Drop a comment if you, or sorry, when you join. Okay, for those of you who don't know me or are new to my page, my name is Tiffany Calhoun. I'm a transformational breathwork facilitator. I'm a Akashic Records reader, and also the creator of Unleashed Your Soul Blueprint. I basically help spiritual entrepreneurs release any subconscious programs, any soul level blocks, so that they can step into full visibility, clarity, and leadership without burnout, without self doubt, and without circling on ideas or strategies that don't feel aligned. Um, so today's live training is all about the message that magnetizes. So if you've ever struggled to explain what it is that you do without rambling, if you've ever tried to sound polished but came out on the stiff or overly professional side of things, or if you often worry about being perceived as too much, not enough, underqualified, then you are in the right place. Your message isn't just about words, it's about safety, nervous system regulation, and the stories that your brain is still holding on to. And that is what we're going to retrain together today. So, um, let's get started first with a beautiful little grounding breath. We like to do this in the beginning because it helps us to regulate our nervous system so that, the messages that you're receiving and hearing from me don't just land in your mind. Instead, they land in your body, and you're fully able to receive them. So, we'll start with a 4-7-8 breath, and this breath down regulates your nervous system. It puts you into a parasympathetic state, which is rest and digest. And when you're in this state, basically your body knows that there's not a saber-toothed tiger behind you. When your exhale is longer than your inhale, it tells your body that you're in an environment where you have time to breathe, right? So we're not running, we're not working out, we're not doing something that's causing stress. Instead, we're open to receive, right? Okay, so what it looks like is we can do this all through our nose. We're going to breathe in for 4. It's going to be a pretty hefty breath because we have to breathe out for 8. So breathing in for 4, holding for 7, and exhaling. You can exhale through the mouth if you like with a sigh. Kind of gets the day off your shoulders. Or you can exhale through your nose. But go ahead and close your eyes. And we're going to breathe in through our nose really deeply for 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding. And exhaling either through your mouth or through your nose for 8. Good. Breathing in for 4. Holding for 7. And breathing out for 8. And one last time, breathing in for 4. Holding for 7. And breathing out for 8. Good. Placing both your hands on your heart, returning to a pace of breath that feels natural in your body, and just noticing the weight of the world is a little less, noticing the relaxed state that you were able to achieve by just breathing. Beautiful. Noticing a calm body And that is going to make space for a very confident voice. So, for today, we'll talk about how, there's a problem with our message and, um, you know, having having the tools to step into a message that magnifies instead of one that puts our body into contraction mode. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm just using a different screen format. It's confusing me. So for years, I shared this in the Facebook group earlier this week. I thought that the messaging had to sound perfect. I would practice, I would polish and repolish until it sounded professional, until it sounded like I was the authority on what I was speaking on. But what actually happens when you do that is that people have a hard time connecting with you, especially when you're on a social media app, like coming across as one of them, one of my peers. And when you sound like you're reading out of an encyclopedia, you become pretty hard to relate to. Because the truth of the matter is, people, they don't buy into polish. They buy into truth and resonance and frequency. And people can ascertain and they can perceive your frequency, your vibe, right? Your vibe, through how you speak and the messaging that you're putting out there. So it doesn't matter if it's perfect, the right people will come to you regardless. So this fear of judgment or rejection, it really makes your nervous system contract and your brain goes into survival mode. And instead of speaking from the soul, you default to safe, vague, or even overcomplicated messaging. And then putting yourself out there actually begins to feel exhausting. So your brain is literally pumping out cortisol every time you're doing this, and it's trying to protect you. And until you retrain those patterns, you're going to keep second guessing your words and your actions and even your own messaging. So if you look in the Facebook group earlier yesterday, I posted a blueprint to walk you through how to make your messaging magnetic. And we start off in there with 3 pillars of messaging. So we want to know who you serve. We want to get as specific as possible. Just saying, I serve women who are looking to start their own spiritual business is not specific enough. You basically want to create the avatar from someone that has inspired you to move into this. So whether it be you and your story, or whether it be, you have the tools that can help your friend Melissa, putting Melissa's face and avatar into that who do I serve. Get as specific as possible. So I serve women who are desiring to launch their soul-led business or offer within the next 12 weeks, to ultimately leave an unfulfilling job that they have, like whether it be corporate or maybe they're stuck working all of these unfulfilling jobs, and they want to start to serve the world with their innate spiritual gifts. That is who I serve. And that is why you are in this group, because you have connected to that messaging somehow. And then you want to move into the second pillar when you know who you're serving. You have that picture in your mind. What you help them with. So naming this pain point as clearly as possible and getting as specific as possible. So I serve women who are, trying to launch their soul on offer. what is it that I'm helping them with? Launching their soul-led offer, creating it using their innate, incarnate soul blueprint instead of, Sally's design strategy that she bought and paid $27 for, instead of moving into another Instagram course. Um, we want you to connect with your soul's purpose, and we do that through a variety of tools that I am able to help my clients connect to, whether it be the breath work, whether it be the energy work that we do, the quantum healing, whether it be the Akashic healing, the Akashic Records readings, all of these things. So connecting with their soul blueprint and then moving that into a soul-led offer. And then what is the transformation that you guide? You want to show them what is possible. Get out of working these dead-end jobs. Get out of working in something that's unfulfilling you, whether it be corporate or, whether it be, just wanting to have this as something that's more passionate for you rather than just like endless job after job. And if you're talking about, well, these are spiritual entrepreneurs in my group. So those listening to this, maybe you have a yoga program and it's for people who had a car accident and want the mobility back in their body to connect to their youth again, to feel more youthful, more vitality. So getting specific about who you serve, what it is that you help them with. I help, with, entry level yoga practices that help you move from stiff and stuck to fluid and, more vitality. And so you can, do all the things that you used to do when you had your body's health and wellness. We have 99 problems until health is one of them, and then we have one, right? So maybe that's what you connect people to. And, talking like this, talking with this, I help, do what, transform how, it retrains your brain to focus on simplicity rather than perfectionism. So, I know who I serve. I've swallowed that truth many times. I've taken that little pill of who I serve, what I help them with, and how they've helped them transform. And I have made that part of my essence. And so when I'm talking to people, I talk about that very naturally. I know who it is I serve. I know who it is that, needs to hear my messaging, what I can help them with, and the pain points. And then this gives your nervous system a safe container. These 3 pillars, not a million, right? We're not sitting here wondering, oh my gosh, how do I answer this question when people ask me? If you've ever been in corporate world, you know about your elevator pitch. So like this would be your elevator pitch. This would be just a 30-second, high level, enough to get people curious, enough to have people understand that you are experiencing the same thing as them, or you're the expert in this somehow, and then wanting to know more. So in the packet that I attached yesterday, I walk you through those 3 pillars. There's actually a journal prompt for each of them, and you can scribble and you can print out or save it in PDF form, but you can get clear on the who, the what, and the transformation that you offer, and distill it down into your I help statement. And if you want any back and forths, feel free to drop it in a DM, and I can help you with that. I actually really enjoy making I help statements once we help unpack a little bit. Okay, so then the next thing that we want to consider, once we know our pillars and with certainty, belief and truth in our beingness, understand that we're talking to that person, we want to calm ourselves down before we move into messaging of any kind, whether it be even a post whether it be a live format like I'm doing here, whether it be a long-term format with a podcast. We basically want to get our bodies into this rest and digest phase out of the activated sympathetic nervous system where we are outrunning a saber-toothed tiger instead of talking to our audience. So there's that 4, 7, 8 breath that we practiced. It's very good to get into the habit of just doing 3, 3 plus, 3, 4, 5 of those breaths in a row before you commit to creating a post, going live, talking to, a prospective client. This interrupts your stress response system, like I mentioned before. And yeah, it helps you get grounded. It helps you pick up on some of those softer energy signals that you're going to be perceiving while you're in that live or in that conversation. That if you were stressed out and at the top of your, stress response, maybe you wouldn't pick up on because you're actually in survival mode at that point. So over time, this starts to train the brain that these posts, these conversations, these trainings, they're actually not a danger zone, if that makes sense. Okay, so in the journal, I'm freezing, sorry. Are we back? Okay. In the blueprint, I also included some journal prompts. So getting clear on, what you want to be known for, what phrase does my ideal client need to hear this week? And, there's a few. What story from my life proves that this is the actual transformation that I can guide people through? Whether that be client success stories or your own personal story, how you used your own medicine to achieve the transformation that you are claiming you can do for others. And when I say your own medicine, I simply mean that we work in a world where energy is everything. So any type of exchange of energy can be medicine for the soul. And so whether it be, you did your own yoga or you went to a retreat and you were introduced to this and then you pursued that as a path, whatever the story is from your life that begins to put these transformational stories into perspective for your future clients, starting to share that through your messaging. This week, I sent out a message about a beautiful soul that I led through this exact same thing. I got her permission to share before. Obviously, you want to make sure, if you're sending out messaging, that you're not going to throw one of your clients off and put them into a fight or flight response. Like, oh my gosh, why are they telling my story? Chelsea came into my world when she was in her mid-40s and always knew, had this nagging feeling that she was here for more. Dead end job after dead end job and not feeling fulfilled and purposeful. We were able to put some of, the teachings that I offer into practice for her and completely changed her life. We went into a super deep breath work. So the breath work session that comes in my mentorship is a DMT holotropic style breath work. Basically your brain produces this organic compound called DMT, which is also prevalent in ayahuasca, and it moves you into a beautiful soul journey. You're able to see guidance, you're able to see spirit guides. I know it sounds crazy. You're able to release so much trauma from your body. The weight of the world lifts off of you, and then it moves you into this state of hypnosis. And when I pose questions, your subconscious mind hears them, Googles it like a Google computer would, and immediately answers it with feedback in real time. And you're able to observe all the things that happen to you or your lineage as an observer, and not take that story with you, but instead heal that wound immediately. So the breathwork, super powerful, helped her to calm her nervous system. It helped her to see some of the traumas that she was playing victim to in her adult life, and release those, heal those, instantaneously within one session. And then we went into her Akashic records, and we did, full blueprint retrieval. What are you here for? What is the vibration you carry? What are your soul gifts? What is your soul purpose? And bringing that into resonance with who she is now that she's released all of those victim taglines, I guess you could say. And she stopped living for others and started living for herself. And really amazing breakthroughs. Literally, the first coaching we had after those 2 healings, she was like, this is what I'm here to do. And she knew with certainty that she's here to help women just like her, middle-aged, step back into reclaiming aspects of themselves, reclaiming their sensuality, and working in, small groups like retreats and things like that. And she put it out there. She started hosting retreats. She just decided to host a weekend. Excuse me. She decided to host a weekend and had 3 people sign up immediately. They're like, yes, this is exactly what I need. How did you know? It's like you were talking to me. And that's what happens when when you do the release work, and when you feel certain of your messaging, and when you know exactly why you're here, and who you're here to help. It becomes that magnetic, right? So anyway, I deviated from what I had initially wanted to say in telling you that when you start to go through these journaling prompts, you'll start to kind of really hone in on like how it is that you can integrate some of these into your messaging, and you can share your clients' success stories, either in written form or like I just did now, and all of these prompts that I have in the blueprint that I attached this week, they're going to retrain your subconscious mind to search for evidence of clarity and confidence and proof, right? So we want to fill our confirmation bias with evidence of certainty and evidence of proof that like we are the shit. Like you should be taking screenshots of your client success stories. Like even if someone just texts you like, holy shit, I had a major breakthrough after the yoga that you led, or after, the conversation that we had, take a screenshot, put it into an album, call it I Am the Shit dossier. Like you need a photo album of proof that when you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I cannot do this right now, I'm so burned out from not hearing anything from clients or not having anyone sign on, go through that, fill your subconscious with evidence of proof that you are the shit, and this way it'll stop scanning for threats every single time that you're up, against some form of messaging block. Okay, so another aspect of the blueprint that I have for you is mantras and affirmations, right? We want to fill our evidence bank. So, after you do the breath work and you've calmed yourself into a state of rest and digest, we're going to want to just affirm to ourselves while we're in that calm state of mind, like, it is safe to be seen in my full truth. It's, my words don't have to be perfect. They just have to be powerful. And the right people who need to hear me will hear me now. I've included a couple, and I've also included a sheet where you can come up with, several more. So come up with, 5 or 10 more, and start saying these, or start posting these as like, thought pieces on your page, or before you go live, do a little bit of breath work, and then state that as your intention for the live, hit live, and then speak from the heart, and this way you're building those new neural pathways. Your message is really linked to empowerment instead of fear at that point. And then we've spent time talking about micro actions and how they can help us set the stage for success in our business. So, we have a Tuesday at is it 1 o'clock? Power hour, Tuesday 1 o'clock Eastern, and then also tonight at 6:30 to 7:30 Eastern. Power hours to help you start to put some of this into movement. So starting, we're gonna start with maybe you could share why you began this journey. Um, if you're just starting your business, start with that. If you're growing your business, post your I help statement publicly. Post it, below this, or post it on, the page, and just put it out there. Like, what? Introduce yourself. Like, hi, I'm so and so. I'm new to this group. I help such and such people transform and do X, Y, and Z. And then if you're scaling, um, you know, drop a bold opinion on your page that shows what kind of leadership you offer. Um, you know, I I'm like a tough love type of girly. If you start playing the victim in my container, I'm going to immediately shift the narrative, and we're going to get to the bottom of why you keep going there. Why you keep, excusing yourself through victim mindsets. And if we have to, we'll schedule a second breathwork session. We'll get to the bottom of this shit, and it will be no more. Like, that is the style of leadership that I host for my clients. Like, if you come in and you try to pull that, you're not gonna waste your time and your money in my container. You're going to overcome all of these things that have been holding you back for years. And I say that with certainty. But anyway, these micro actions, they help give your brain, more proof, more evidence. And then every time you act, you're literally rewiring that you can trust yourself. You can be visible, and you are safe to speak. And yeah, it's not it's not survival mode anymore. So, every time you hesitate to post or overthink, um, your brain is basically sending a message that visibility equals danger. So when you regulate your nervous system and you take these micro actions, you're activating neuroplasticity, and your brain starts to rewire, and it starts to build these new associations that visibility can be safety, and that your words can equal connection, right? So when we pair that, oh my gosh, my back. When we pair that with the breath work and the affirmations, then of this workbook, we do much deeper work in my container. But when you're just getting started and you're taking a micro action with this workbook, when you pair that with the breath work, the 478, and then these affirmations, you're starting to work on multiple levels of the subconscious, the nervous system, and also your intuition and your soul, right? So that's why your strategy can block you. Like, it can either block you or it can unblock you. So you have to retrain the whole system if you're currently in a strategy that's blocking you. And that's, mind, body, energy, all of that. You have to really recognize where it's safe to be seen. So, okay, so that's all I had. I have to jump because I have a call in 3 minutes. But the truth of the matter is, your messaging doesn't have to be polished. It just has to be clear. It just has to be soul-led, and it just has to feel safe in your body. And, if you take a look at the magnetic blueprint from this week, it's here to help you. So be sure to download it and do the actual prompts. We also have a co-working session tonight where you can bring your messaging, all the messaging tasks that you have, and get it done with support. And you can share that in the chat while you're in there. We can riff off that. Visibility really grows when you take action. So drop an introduction into this Facebook, introducing yourself and who you are. Put your I help statement out there. Be vulnerable. And if you're feeling the pull to go deeper, we have It's October 1st as I'm saying this. So we have literally 3 months of 2025 left. So working with me inside of Unleash guarantees you that by 2026 you'll be up and running with your soul led offer that feels like destiny and not guesswork, that feels like you landed in your strategy instead of borrowing some internet influencer strategy. So I'll include, the information for that in the post underneath of this. But feel free to book a discovery call. We'll see if it's a good fit. And if so, we'll map out your path to clarity, visibility, and confidence from there. Thank you for being here. Remember, your words don't have to be perfect, they just have to be powerful. And your people are waiting for you to speak. So let it land in your body that it's safe to do so and get out there. Okay. That's all I have for now. Don't forget to look for the blueprint in the Facebook community, and I'll see you later. Bye.